Yes. Welcome back to another episode of Go Long Live. I am your host, Barry Long II. Not the first, not the third. I am the second. We are live on CoachellaValley.com, live on today'scalifornia.com. We are live on today'scanada.com, all over the Twitterverse, all over the metaverse, all over the universe. Now, typically, we are on here at noon. But today we're going here at 6 p.m. We had some technical issues going on earlier, but we have got them all ironed out. And you know what? It's noon somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's noon in Tokyo or maybe the Philippines. Let me bring in my main man, Rudy Ramon Reyes. Rudy, how are you doing, my friend?
Hey man, I'm doing good. I'm
Man,
still
it was an
waiting.
incredible.
It was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. I am good.
It was the craziest football weekend that we've probably seen ever. The craziest divisional weekend by far. Capped off by an amazing game last night that we saw the Bills and the Chiefs. Real quick, what were your thoughts on that game?
Man, Josh Allen's heart, I'm sure, sank to his gut watching the same thing he watched last year, and that was the Chiefs stealing this win. When I don't say steal, when you're the Grim Reaper, be the Grim Reaper. And that's one of the quotes that was used by Coach Andy Reid. And it was a heartbreaker. It was an absolute heartbreaker for Josh Allen, a heartbreaker for, there was just so many stories within the story of why this game was what it was. Not a good squib kick. What to squib?
Yeah, they should have pooched it.
That's the question. Exactly. You squib the kick, you don't have to worry about it. Now you have a full length field with a guy you're kicking the ball to. You have no business kicking the ball to because your defense obviously did not show up, dropping that dime. Yeah. Headed in for 7 to basically seal the deal.
Yeah, it was an exciting game, and we're going to break down that game. We're going to dive deep into that game more tomorrow, but we want to talk about the other games that were on Saturday real quick. Julian Rodrigo says, go Niners. We are going to talk about the 49ers game here in a little bit. We're going to break down the Green Bay Packers and the 49ers, but first, we must talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. They have advanced to the AFC Championship, and it's going to be their first ever AFC Championship. It's an exciting time to be a Cincinnati Bengals fan and Who Dey Nation or whatever they call themselves. You and I are very familiar with the AFC North. We are very fond of Joe Burrow. I love me some Joe Burrow. I think that he's a star. He's a stud. Whatever you want to call him, he's got the swag. He's incredible. The way he plays, the way he moves around in the pocket, just his decision making. He plays like he's a 10-year veteran. So I love some Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow got knocked around. He got knocked around pretty good. My man got sacked 9 times. And when the game was in the balance and he had a chance to make a couple of throws after some untimely interceptions by Ryan Tannehill, and we'll get to him shortly. But Joe Burrow made the plays that he needed to make. And of course, their rookie kicker, McPherson, was the one to send him to the AFC Championship. What were your thoughts on that game?
There were a lot of things that I do like about that game, and Joe Burrow is the man. There was a lot of obstacles he had to come over with the ACL, MCL sprain, and or tear to his right leg, which is his planting foot. So there's no way he would have been able to come back with some type of miracle. But this year is a little bit different, obviously, from a mindset. He has Ja'Marr Chase, a former LSU alum, a guy who has been leading the league in catches. Not really a factor in that game, to be quite honest with you, which was very surprising to me. But the fact that he was able to get it to Mixon in the flat, you mix it up defensively, they just clobbered. They just clobbered him. So it was just a matter of what they were able to do, how they were able to find a way to win. And when you leave it to a kicker to send you into the AFC Championship, which, by the way, is in Arrowhead, because everything going through Arrowhead because they're the second seed in the AFC. Now they have an opportunity to win on the road, which is a tough place to play. It's Arrowhead Stadium. There's no doubt about it. Every team that's played there has had very difficult times playing there, whether it's a championship game or not. I can imagine the decibels are probably somewhere close to the 200s.
The loudest stadium by far.
Really loud. Absolutely. And I foresee this as not really being any laid down game. It's not as if, the Cincinnati Bengals did this the easy way. They had to travel on the road like any other team. They're hot right now. They're playing lights out right now. And I think Kansas City's going to have they're going to have the work cut out for him. Now, don't forget, everybody knows Mahomes is magic on the outside. He's able to get the ball to anybody and everybody, underhanded throws, sidearm throws. I mean, just absolutely destroying the Bills defense when the DBs don't step back off the line, when they don't provide the right amount of coverage, the right type of coverage. It's like they're playing zone, the Bills, versus playing man coverage. But then again, you have to count for Mahomes. But who can count for him when he can scramble for 25, 30 yards, just like we've seen Josh Allen do on the other side of the ball? It's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was a crazy game between the Chiefs and the Bills, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna break that down just a little bit more here tomorrow. But let's go back to Tennessee, okay? Because Tennessee came in, they were the number 1 seed. They had Derrick Henry healthy. They were excited. They came out. We know what Tennessee is gonna do. They're gonna run the ball down your throat. They run the ball at an extremely high level, even with D'Onta Foreman. I thought that D'Onta Foreman should have been more of a factor in this game. He only got 4 carries. They did give you a heavy dose of King Henry, but he only had 62 yards, and he was unable to get those key first downs on the fourth down conversion and a couple of other third down conversions. He was unable to get those yards that they needed, and they were unable to just get the job done. And I felt like when they put the ball in Ryan Tannehill's hands at the beginning of the game, for the first play of the game is a play action to Ryan Tannehill. For Ryan Tannehill, he throws in an interception. Obviously, they know what the Bengals knew what the Tennessee Titans were going to do. So they wanted to get cute. They wanted to get a little bit, they switch it up, and they got away from who they are. And that's the reason why Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions. And if you're the Tennessee Titans and you look back at this game and you're like, man, why did we lose this game? We lost the game because the quarterback was terrible.
He gave the game away. He gave the game away. He literally gave the game away. It was from the onset. That first possession by Tennessee, certainly you had King Henry back. You had momentum. You were at home. I don't believe in this home field advantage everybody wants to talk about. Maybe that was good in the 90s, but not good anymore. I mean, that whole narrative's out the window. There is no home field advantage anymore. And clearly the Bengals are showing why. Consistently. I mean, it's just it's freakish to believe that the Bengals have gone from next to nobody, entering a playoff game the first time since 1988, and now this is where they're at right now in an AFC championship game. Any given Saturday, Sunday, Friday, and Week 18, Thursday Night Football, and Monday Night Football. So I've covered all the days that end with Y, at least. I mean, let's think about that. But the fact that Ryan Tannehill was not able to get the ball out productively with those possessions by being able to get those much needed first downs, not trying to throw it too hard, not throwing into double coverage. I think Bengals defense just really got Ryan Tannehill's number. You mentioned Hightower and the fact that he didn't get as many carries as he should have. I believe he should have been the main ball carrier, because we know that Derrick Henry was not inning in any football game for the last month and a half to 2 months. He's going to be rusty. He's not going to have that same type of ferocity carrying the ball, being able to break through that line in order to get Peter to get the touchdown. And unfortunately for the Tennessee Titans, home field advantage, what's that?
Yeah, man, and I was impressed. I was impressed with the Bengals defense. They were able to make some key turnovers. Ryan Tannehill, he literally, after D'Onta Foreman makes this the biggest gain of the entire day for the Tennessee Titans, runs them all the way down into the red zone. The very next play on an RPO, Ryan Tannehill throws an interception. Ryan Tannehill has almost got them in field goal range to win that game. And then what does he do? Tries to force it into double coverage to Julio Jones. Rather than going to his security blanket and A.J. Brown, who he should have been going to, just like Joe Burrow. On the flip side, when the Bengals get the ball back, what does Joe Burrow do? Goes to Jamar Chase, the guy he trusts the most. So we saw what Tannehill did to this team. And I'm not going to say that it's time to pull the plug on Tannehill if you're a Tennessee Titans front office. I do like what Tannehill has brought to that, the stability that he's brought to that position. But I just feel like, this was his game. This was his game. And he certainly felt, the pressure at the podium after the game. He was very, very remorseful, said that this was going to stick with him the entire offseason. I bet it will. But yeah, man, I'm excited and I'm impressed with the Bengals. They're a team that came out of nowhere. I mean, literally the quickest turnaround that we've ever seen from a team, and now they're in the AFC Championship. And look, they've already beat the Chiefs this season. They beat the Chiefs. So we could be potentially looking at the Bengals in the Super Bowl. How about that?
That's actually crazy, but I would say to Tom Brady, scoot over. I would say Aaron Rodgers, scoot over, because here comes Ryan Tannehill to take up the majority of that couch end for you with his arm on the rest, because they're all in Cancun.
Welcome to the couch.
That's it. Welcome
shout out to Naomi. She says, shout out from the Philippines, watching you. To boy in a black cup. I'm not sure what she's saying, but shout out to her. We are being watched in the Philippines right now. We appreciate it. Okay. She's shouting you out. She's shouting you out.
Enough. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks
Tamika
for the compliment.
McKinney says, didn't wash. Not really sure what she means. DP gives us thumbs up. We appreciate all the love. We are Go Long Live. I am Barry Long II. He is Rudy Reyes, and we are breaking down this weekend's divisional games. They were so exciting. And let's jump right to the Packers. The 49ers and the Packers, man. This was a sad scene if you are a Packers fan. Of course, we know this game was going to be very cold. We didn't know it was going to be as snowy as it was. And you know what comes with these cold weather games. The running games are what you need the most. You need defense. They're going to be low scoring. They're going to be tight, and it's going to be tough. And there's going to be a lot of drop passes, and there's going to be things that would happen to any natural person in cold weather. So we saw a lot of these things affect the game, but what we saw was Aaron Rodgers take the Green Bay Packers down on the very first drive, score a touchdown, and they did not score another point until they got a field goal, and it was 10-10. But what was the key reason why the Packers lost? And that is special teams. If you look at what happened right before the half, they're about to kick a field goal. They get a field goal block. Then at the end of the game, near the end of the game, they get the punt block for their touchdown return. So Aaron Rodgers, of course he could have done more. Aaron Rodgers, this game is on you too, buddy. I mean, I don't like the fact that the game was taken away and was decided on a special teams play the way that it was. But the reality of it is if Aaron Rodgers would put more points up on the board, they wouldn't have been in that position. What are your thoughts and takeaways from that game?
Well, first and foremost, they're 0-4. The Packers are at Lambeau in the playoffs, so that doesn't really help them a whole lot. You have Aaron Rodgers, who certainly is nowhere near as good in the playoffs as we have seen. And thirdly, this weather was to their advantage, Packers' advantage, because they play in this every single year. This is not a shocker. This isn't something that all of a sudden I woke up, oh, yawn, I'm going to stretch. We're going to play football today, and we're going to go to the passing game when it's going to be -5 degrees outside. No, they
live in that weather.
That's what you do. Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be that guy to get them to where they needed to go to. Could he have done more? Absolutely. This was an epic fail on Aaron Rodgers' part. It was a fail on the Packers' play calling. Offensively, defensively, I thought they did relatively decent. I mean,
Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, everybody just kind of showed up in the ways that they needed to. But the 49ers, a fair weather team that plays in degrees of 70 plus every single day of the football season.
Hey, it gets 50 up in San Fran.
Yeah, but when's the last time they played in 50-degree weather? Come on, man. You know they're not going to play in 50-degree weather when it's foggy outside. I remember the fog games that they would play in back at Candlestick, but this is not Candlestick. You're not going to have fog rolling into Levi's Stadium. 49ers were not the team everybody was expecting to be at right this minute. They weren't. Yeah. I didn't expect them to be here, and nobody else did. I don't even think they did. They had the idea they were going to be there, but did not have a clue how they were going to. At first, it was Jimmy Garoppolo's thumb injury. He's got a torn ligament. I didn't see any torn anything on Jimmy Garoppolo. No. He played extremely good. Yeah, offensive play calling from Kyle Shanahan. Are you serious? The guy's a freaking mastermind.
All he does is pound the rock.
That's it, and that is what you do. He has Mostert, he has Debo. I mean, he has this team playing and firing on all cylinders right now. But don't forget the other side of the ball, where the Rams playing in their house. That's SoFi, the home of the Super Bowl. How ideal would that be to
Yeah.
see the Rams face off against the proverbial winners in Kansas City?
That would be absolutely incredible. We got a meme of the day coming up for that. But yeah, let's jump back. Let's jump back.
I know what that is.
Let's jump back to San Francisco, because you're right, man. Kyle Shanahan, even as great as a play caller as he is, even he didn't expect this team to be here right now. And he gave them 2 years ago, he gave them a heavy dose of Raheem Mostert. Doesn't matter who he's got back there. He got Eli Mitchell. He'll put Deebo Samuel back there. What we know from Kyle Shanahan is he's going to run the rock down your throat, and he attempts to call 40 run plays per game. And he damn sure gets close. He gets pretty close a lot of times. But and Jimmy G, he expects Jimmy G to play mistake-free football and just be a game manager. And that's all they need Jimmy G to be. And that defense tees off on whoever they're playing against. And they have the recipe to go into a Lambeau Field. Now, I know that they're not – this should be a disadvantage, but they have the recipe. They have what it takes to go into Lambeau Field and dethrone the Packers. The Packers, who everybody was riding high on, including myself. But when you look at Aaron Rodgers and his time being a Green Bay Packer, of course he grew up in the Bay Area. He was a 49ers fan growing up. He's 0-4 against this team. For some reason, I'm sitting there watching the game with Packers fans, and for some reason, everybody's just like, oh, man, Aaron Rodgers, what is it about San Francisco? And it's crazy. It's ironic to think that we almost saw Aaron Rodgers go to San Francisco, or we wanted him to be in San Francisco when we were talking about where he should go. But I don't think he's going to San Francisco. I think he needs to get that proverbial monkey off his back if he ever does get to another playoff. And we'll talk about his future shortly. But if he ever does get to another playoffs and he's ever, in the NFC, he's going to have to beat the 49ers, I feel, in order to go to the Super Bowl. But what is it with Aaron Rodgers and these 49ers, man?
There's when teams have your number and they know what you're going to do and you're predictable at doing it time and time again, over and over again, you become familiar. So you're drawing up plays to stop Aaron Rodgers. You're creating defensive pressures and coverages and design plays to stop Aaron Rodgers from making these somewhat lofty throws at times. We've seen him. Then again, we've seen him throw some seriously good darts downfield to Davante Adams, former Fresno State Bulldog, or Davante Adams, excuse me. So, I mean, something about teams that you have, and you just have their number. And essentially, that's what continues to be the case. We've seen it against the Giants and the Patriots, which we've spoken about before. They've won 1 out of 2 meetings against them, and they end up doing it with the helmet catch. So we've seen teams go into other people's places and beat them handily, which is what we looked at last night.
Yeah, absolutely. And for all the the drama that's surrounding Aaron Rodgers right now, when he walked off the field, there's a picture of him right here. And he's walking off the field. He's got the long hair. I really was never a fan of Aaron Rodgers with the long hair. Are you a fan of, as I like to call him, Darren Rodgers? Because that's not Aaron Rodgers. Do you like the long hair?
Aaron Rodgers. No. But this is coming from a guy that has no hair. Okay. So, and I don't
have any hair either. I don't have any hair either.
I'm just saying. That I think the hair has something to do with why he keeps losing. This isn't Samson and Delilah, okay? This is about Aaron Rodgers getting back to normalcy, chopping the locks, and calling
cut your hair
and get back to football. Make sure you take a shower first, Aaron, if you're listening. And when you
looks like he doesn't
cut your hair at the same time. He doesn't look like taking a shower. No,
he
not
looks
at
like
all.
a nomad. Yeah, he looks like a nomad.
Yeah, it's like shower. What's that? He uses a cloth, probably. I don't know. Look. The whole point about Aaron Rodgers is that his mindset outside of football is not very reliable, not very good. But inside of football, his IQ is extremely high. He's a smart guy playing a smart game. That's where he belongs.
Yeah.
However, this situation where he feels that he needed to switch and change words to make inoculations sound like he was, vaccinated. those two don't match.
There's a lot of questionable stuff off the field that we see with Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely.
Like even when you look at some of the stuff that we've heard about his relationships with his own immediate family, with his mother, with his brother, we've heard some stuff, from Aaron Rodgers that would raise eyebrows. And he's done some stuff that's questionable, regarding him going on the Pat McAfee show. We love Pat McAfee, but Aaron Rodgers goes up there and he spills all the beans. He's acted a little bit different this season, and he's been a lot.
He's a drama king.
He's a drama king. He's a drama king.
If you're an NFL team, you got to get away from this guy. You just need to call it a day.
So let me ask you that then. So where should Aaron Rodgers leave Green Bay? Because the consensus, the overall consensus in Green Bay is that everybody wants to keep Aaron Rodgers. And this picture right here, the way that he's walking off the field, the way that he's just gazing up into the lights, it kind of reminded me of Big Ben in his last game at Heinz Field. It felt like Aaron Rodgers is done with this cold place. I mean, it's freezing. He doesn't like the front office already. He's had issues. Of course, he loves playing with Devontae Adams, but we all knew that Aaron Rodgers was pretty much done after the season. And then after the game, he even hinted that he was, pretty much done. So where should Aaron Rodgers, in your opinion, leave Green Bay? Because I am under the assumption that the grass is not always greener on the other side.
No, the grass is hardly ever green unless you have fake grass. And of course, Aaron Rodgers is playing it safely, right? So his verbiage around him wanting to leave or hinting around leaving or anything of that nature, that's just an immediate onset after loss. After he's able to kind of chill out, think about it, then all of a sudden you'll hear this before the draft, right? Because we've seen the issue that he had with Love being drafted by Matt LaFleur in the Packers front office.
Or as I like to call him, Jordan hate.
Right, exactly. Well, Jordan, he hasn't had any play time at all. And I think people are hating on Jordan Love because he's not Aaron Rodgers. People don't name their kids Aaron Rodgers because they're bored. They they name them for who they are as individuals, okay? And what they feel like I should name, what they represent to whatever extent that is. But I think Aaron Rodgers, your best bet is to just call it a day and leave Green Bay.
Really? And see, I'm under the assumption that if he leaves Green Bay and he ends up, let's say he goes to Miami, he's going through Miami. I'm Benito, I'm Miami. Let's say he goes down to Miami, gets his Will Smith on, he gets jiggy with it. And he thinks, okay, they won a lot of close games this year. They ripped off 7 in a row, and he ends up going down to Miami, and it's a dumpster fire. Let's say he goes to Denver, and Denver just doesn't work out the way that it worked out for Peyton Manning later in his career. Let's say he goes to Chicago. I mean, I don't think he'll go to Chicago. I think he'll go somewhere a little bit more warmer weather.
They have no love in Chicago for Aaron Rodgers.
They don't even want him.
They hate on this guy.
If Aaron Rodgers showed up to Soldier Field, was like, "Hey, I want to be a Chicago Bear," they hate him so much they probably wouldn't even let him in the building.
Yeah, probably not. And everybody would make sure that he paid their tab if they ever ordered a beer.
For sure. So, all right, so you say he should leave. I say he should stay, man. I think that he's got
a lot of different places, though. There's a lot of different places where would you go to?
What do you think?
Okay, first of all, I think Denver is a good fit. Don't believe he's going to Denver. The Bears, I highly doubt that. That is so. I can't. No, absolutely not. As far as Pittsburgh is concerned, I don't want a basket case in Pittsburgh. I don't want the guy under center that doesn't take a shower under center handling a perfectly clean ball to throw it to clean wide receivers' hands until they land on the ground, and that makes him dirty. Then at that point, it's kind of an even keel. But at the end of the day, I think that if he's going to be anything, he's going to be a backup. And I hate to say that he's a backup because he didn't play like he was a backup through the regular season this year, and his numbers reflect that. His ability to get the ball out to his receivers, tight ends, he was really able to make his numbers count. Of course, this could be a showcase film of clips. I mean, you have 15 years or plus more of Aaron Rodgers throwing the football. I mean, you can probably see enough to know he belongs somewhere. But as far as being the Packers starter, probably not. And if he gets benched in lieu of Jordan Love, I don't see that working out very well at all. And either way, I think Aaron Rodgers will find his way out of there. But you mentioned Miami. I think Miami's a perfect place for him.
Really?
Yeah, I do. You got a new head coach coming in. There's a new regime. They're going to hire and draft some new wide receivers. They're going to keep some of the ones that they have. They're going to have the defense. They're going to stack up there. Believe me, they're going to get the coverage.
I like Parker
right
and
up
Waddle. I think that's a good little receiving core right there just to start off.
Absolutely.
I mean, but yeah, I'm just saying the Miami Dolphins are just the Miami Dolphins, and it just feels like if Aaron Rodgers goes down there, I mean, I think he could will them to win some games, but I just don't see him being as successful anywhere else besides the way he was in Green Bay. Like I just feel like Green Bay, the grass is not always greener. Bay, you know what I mean? Like,
well, just think about this: Aaron Rodgers. I couldn't picture him in any other uniform ever. There's just no way. I just can't see it. He wears that green and
that's
yellow.
how it felt with Brett Favre. Like when Brett Favre left, that number 4 Green Bay jersey is so iconic. It's so nostalgic to me when I see one of those. It just makes me feel like I'm a kid again. But it was so hard to see Brett Favre change teams. And I mean, when it was disgusting to see him as a New York Jet. I mean, it was just disgusting. Like the jersey didn't look right, the helmet didn't fit right. It was just disgusting.
Or how about when he got to Vikings?
Yeah, and then we was the Vikings. I mean, that was he had some success there.
Well, he did, but that was a dagger because you're talking about the NFC North, man.
Yeah, I know. and Packers fans are probably still hold a little bit of
bitter.
Bit. Yeah,
bitter is not better.
Animosity towards him for doing that, but just an incredible era that we're gonna see end. And I mean, as bad as I want Aaron Rodgers to stay and continue to have success with Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers, I just don't see it happening. And it's a new Aaron Rodgers. I mean, who knows? We could see a trade. We could see anything happen. You know, it's
anything's possible.
Yeah,
especially in the NFL because it either spells no free lunch or not for long.
Yeah.
And either way, if you don't buy somebody else's lunch, you're not going to be there for long. So
absolutely,
you're going to have to pick up your box and your toys and find somewhere else to play. And I think Aaron Rodgers is out of his way, out of Green Bay and on his way somewhere else.
All right, so real quick, let's talk about this Chiefs and Bills game. We're going to have to break it down more tomorrow because we don't have much time. We got about 5 minutes left. Just an incredible fourth quarter, man. I mean, every time you looked up, it was a big play after big play after big play. Probably the most exciting NFL game that I've ever witnessed in my life. Besides that one game between the Rams and the Chiefs, back on like Monday night a couple years ago, it was like 50-something to 50-something. That was an exciting game for casual fans. But this last 5 minutes that we witnessed last night, man, was just exhilarating for casual fans, for football purists. I know most defensive coordinators were cringing the entire time watching all these blown coverages. But at the end of the day, it was just an exciting game. And with 13 seconds left on the clock, you kind of somehow knew that Patrick Mahomes would make the he needed to make to get them into field goal range, and they would go to overtime. Just an incredible game. What were your thoughts on that game? And was that the most exciting game you've ever witnessed?
You know, I'll be honest with you. One of the most exciting games I've ever watched was not that game. It was not that game. But it definitely ranks up there with my top two. And the reason why I say my top two is because the Steelers traveled on the road and hit all these curves. They went to Indianapolis. They went to Denver, 04-05 season. They had to beat these guys. They had to beat them well, and on the road. And once they did that, it was just a matter of time once they got to Detroit to take apart the Seahawks, which ultimately did happen. But when you look at Mahomes outside the pocket, inside the pocket, the guy just knows how to make plays. He does it consistently. He's done it his entire career, as early in infancy as it actually is. Could he even get better than this? I would say yes. I don't think there's a ceiling on him quite yet, but I mean, the Bills were out of sorts. They didn't play the defense that they needed to play up front. And one thing about Mahomes is that he will make those plays look like they were scripted the whole time, even though it was an audible called at the line. So this Chiefs game was, again, top two for me.
Yeah. And Tyreek Hill, man. Tyreek Hill is fast as hell, man. I mean, with that one play where he just comes across on that street or that underneath route, and then he just takes it straight to the house. I mean, he looks like he's shot out of a cannon. And
That's why I call him Cheetah.
this is yeah, for sure. And
Cheetah
then
does a
when you look
dangerous
at
job.
Josh Allen on the other side, man, he was impressive too. And we were sitting there just in awe watching this game. And I'm thinking, man, these guys are going to be battling like this. This is the birth of a Chiefs-Bills rivalry that we're probably going to see for a long time. And the style in which these two guys play, they can be mobile when they need to be. Josh Allen more so than Patrick Mahomes. But the style in which these two play lends itself to longevity. So I see like a guy like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is one hit away from being RG3. Let's just face it. I love me some Lamar Jackson, but the style in which he plays doesn't lend itself to longevity. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are more cautious with their running. They slide more. They're just more cerebral outside of the pocket, I feel like, more so than Lamar Jackson. And I could see these guys having these types of games for a long time to come. And I just think that it was a beautiful birth of a rivalry that we're going to see for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, at least. Now, mind you, there are 4 league changes in the final 2 minutes, 25 points, and the final 154 of the regular time without going to overtime. 7 total touchdowns. And obviously, it was an instant classic. Just absolutely amazing game. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Game.
Absolutely. And so yeah, so this was a meme that I saw. And this is brought to us by NFL IG memes. And they're basically saying that, okay, we're really about to get this rematch in the Super Bowl with Matt Stafford instead of Jared Goff. This is the game that I was talking about. This was the game 54-51. I mean, this was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this was like when the Rams, I believe this is the Rams Super Bowl year where they made it to the Super Bowl and lost that year. But yeah, this was an exciting game. And if we see the Rams and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, man, I mean, that would be probably the most exciting outcome, that we could get.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd be honest with you. There's only been a handful of back-to-back franchises. The Chiefs are not one of them. The Rams are not one of them. They haven't even won one yet. So they're knocking on the door of complete dynasty-like play. And it's all going to be on the shoulders of Matthew Stafford. And they say he couldn't do it in Detroit. Look what he's doing in LA. I'm just saying.
I love it.
With no back-to-back action. Yeah, absolutely. Matthew Stafford has been on point. He played lights out, and I don't foresee anything different happening this weekend.
Yeah, and as long as they can just run that ball with Cam Akers and Sony Michel and just limit his throws and his mistakes in the beginning of games, and we get that fourth quarter Matthew Stafford, look out. I think I think the Bengals, it's an exciting story for the Bengals to be there. And, we're excited, for a team like the 49ers. We're excited for teams like this. But I feel like the Rams and the Chiefs, they have arrived, and I feel like that is going to be our Super Bowl matchup. But we'll talk about that more tomorrow and coming up this week. Real quick, let them know where they can find you at, Rudy.
Hey, throw me a follow at Rude Dog Reyes. Go to the rudedogshow.com where you'll find this very show under Go Long Live.
Yeah, and you can follow me at Radio Barry Long on Twitter, BarryLong_2 on IG, and BarryLong_II on Facebook. We want to say thank you to everybody who commented. Thank you to Naomi, Tamika, Thee, Julian. Thank you to everybody for commenting. We appreciate it. Stay focused, stay motivated, stay inspired, and remember, you're capable of doing anything. So go out and do it. We will talk to you tomorrow. Peace.